are no longer with us. A moment of silence, please. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Every once in a while, it does happen that our council meeting falls on Veterans Day, and it gives us an opportunity to remember veterans, everyone who has served in wartime as well as in peacetime. We remember all of our veterans. Of course, Veterans Day, as we know it, was originally Armistice Day, commemorating the end of the Great War, World War I. But there have been many wars since then, and we now take this day to honor all of our veterans who have served in every capacity. Many of us served during peacetime. I include myself and my father. But you never know when you join the military what might happen. I know when my daughter joined, the most difficult thing she had to do for the first couple of years was pulling tree stumps out of the river when it overflowed. But she found herself driving a Humvee in Iraq, and that was not anticipated. So everybody who joins and serves, you never know when you're going to be called on, when you're going to be needed. And so we thank all of our veterans who are there when we need them. At this time, we have a couple of proclamations, Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. President, you want to do the roll call first?
Yes, we need to do roll call first. Thank you, Councilman.
Roll call. Councilwoman Covey.
Present.
Councilwoman Demko.
Here.
Councilman Sarsfield.
Here.
Councilman Varys.
Here.
Councilman Katina.
Here.
President DeLoss.
Here.
Mayor Kabistik.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. We thought we'd start the evening, since it falls directly on Veterans Day. As Mr. President said, that it was originally Armistice Day, and in 1954, Dwight Eisenhower signed it over and made it Veterans Day. And since then, every president who has served has had a proclamation for the day. And I will read the proclamation for today's date from our current president, Barack Obama. On Veterans Day, America pauses to honor every service member who has ever worn one of the nation's uniforms. Each time our country has come under attack, they have risen in their defense. Each time our freedoms have come under assault, they have responded with resolve. Through the generations, their courage and sacrifice have allowed our republic to flourish. And today, a nation acknowledges its profound debt of gratitude to the patriots who have kept it whole. As we pay tribute to our veterans, we are mindful that no ceremony or parade can fully repay that debt. We remember that our obligations endure long after the battle ends, and we make it our mission to give them the respect and care they have earned. When Americans' veterans return home, they continue to serve our country in new ways, bringing tremendous skills to their communities and to the workforce. Leadership honed while guiding platoons through the unbelievable danger, the talent to master cutting-edge technologies, the ability to adapt to unpredictable situations. These men and women should have the chance to power our economic engine, both because their talents demand it and because no one else who fights for our country should ever have to fight for a job. This year, in marking the 60th anniversary of the Korean War armistice, we resolve that in the United States of America, no war should be forgotten and no veteran should be overlooked. Let us always remember our wounded, our missing, our fallen, and their families. And as we continue our responsibility drawn down from the war in Afghanistan, let us welcome our returning heroes with the support and opportunities they deserve. Under the most demanding of circumstances and in the most dangerous corners of the earth, America's veterans have served with distinction, with courage, self-sacrifice, and devotion to our nation and to one another. They represent the American character at its best. On Veterans Day and every day, we celebrate their immeasurable contributions, draw inspiration from their example, and renew our commitment to showing them the full support of a grateful nation. With respect for and in recognition of the contributions our service members have made to the cause of peace and freedom around the world, Congress has provided 5 U.S.C. 6103-A that November 11th of each year shall be set aside as a legal public holiday to honor our nation's veterans. Now therefore, I, Barack Obama, President of the United States of America, do hereby proclaim November 11, 2013 as Veterans Day. I encourage all Americans to recognize the valor and sacrifice of our veterans through appropriate public ceremonies and private prayer. I call upon federal, state, and local officials to display the flag of the United States and to participate in patriotic activities in their community. I call on all the Americans, including civic and fraternal organizations, places of worship, schools, and communities to support this day in commemorative expressions with programs. In witness whereof, hereunto, my hand this 5th day of November, in the year of our Lord 2013, and of the independence of the United States of America 238. With that, I lead into, there was a lot of information in that. Part of it is that we should never forget our veterans. When they come home, there should be jobs for them. We should honor them. We should pay homage to them. And there are 2 organizations in our community that have been doing that for years. These 2 organizations have not only been the backbone of the veterans in our community, but they're the greater organizations of each of these organizations have been the backbone of this country when it comes to honoring veterans. So today, we'd like to honor those organizations because nobody does a better job of making sure that our veterans are never forgotten in these 2 organizations. We are very fortunate in this community because these 2 organizations work very well together, and they sponsor a lot of events, and they also provide a lot of services so that we as a community can continue to remember our veterans. Some of the events they work on are the Memorial Day Parade. They also provide dinners for individuals at the VA hospital. They provide flag retirement services. They provide flag services to honor veterans throughout the summer. And it's just a real honor today to honor these 2 organizations. I know that everybody up here feels the same way. So I will start. If the commander for the American Legion Post 82, Don Sartwell, will stand, please. We'd like to read you this proclamation for today. The Borough of Carnegie Proclamation, presented on Veterans Day, November 11, 2013, to the American Legion Post 82. Whereas the Legion Post 82 has been a leader in advocating for the veterans' rights in the Carnegie area for many years. Whereas the Legion has played an integral role in recognizing, honoring, and remembering the extraordinary sacrifices of our veterans so that we as a community may never forget their unselfish commitment and dedication and that of their families. Now therefore, on this Veterans Day, year 2013, the Borough of Carnegie hereby recognizes the outstanding service of the members of the American Legion Post 82 with this proclamation. Anybody here from the American Legion, please stand, and we will present you with this proclamation. Yeah, before we do this, we're going to give the VFWs and we'll take pictures together, if that's all right. And on the same token, with the same resolve, the VFW has been a great advocate for veterans. So with that, I'd like to read the proclamation for the VFW. The Borough of Carnegie proclamation presented on Veterans Day, November 11, 2013, to VFW Post 331. Whereas the VFW Post has been a leader in advocating for the veterans' rights in the Carnegie area for many years. Whereas the VFW has played an integral role in recognizing, honoring, and remembering the extraordinary sacrifices of our veterans, so that we as a community may never forget their unselfish commitment and dedication, and that of their families. Now therefore, on this Veterans Day, year 2013, the Borough of Carnegie hereby recognizes the outstanding service of the members of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, August J. Klinkner Post 331, with this proclamation. Please stand. I would like to acknowledge the commander, which I forgot, Jim Schultz. And if you guys would like to come up, we'd like to present you these. I actually believe, if it's okay, I think all council should get up, if that's okay, and present the awards and get a picture with them. Is that all right?
Yeah, can you wait a sec? Slide on the stuff?
I'd be happy to.
Harry tried to push me down the step, but I said no.
You two in front and middle, and then
I'm in front of you.
facing the camera. This way. Cameras right there. You just surround short people like me in front.
I thought you were going to say me.
Ready?
Jeez.
And then, and the other veterans that are here today, everybody like to fall in for a group picture. Is that okay? Actually, do I just do a group picture with all them, or should we? Okay. Yeah, we'll just get all. Okay, ready? Very good. One more. I know it was a long day. Thank you. That's totally is what you guys want to leave. I know it's been a long day. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, well, yeah, I mean, is there anybody who wants to say anything? You're more than welcome to say something before we go. Okay.
Thank you very much. It was nice to be at the parade and see a lot of people along the sides.
Take a look at it, see if we can use it or something.
This is real nice, thank you.
I would just like to say a couple words to our council and members of the community. Our guys volunteer selflessly many hours to our community. You can't believe the work it takes to put on a Memorial Day parade. We gather toys for tots. We have boxes. I'm a member of both American Legion and the VFW. I'm an officer in both organizations. And we would like to ask the community, on behalf of all of us, if you have any sons, daughters, younger people that are veterans, civilians, members of the borough, anybody, we need some members of our organization. We have fallen up with a lot of our organizations were made up of World War II veterans, World War I veterans. And unfortunately, most of these veterans have passed on, and it's a sad thing. And everyone is welcome. We have social memberships. We have memberships for veterans, non-veterans, the ladies' auxiliaries, Sons of the American Legion. If you have sons, if your father was in the war, your grandfather, you're more than welcome to join us. We could use some support from the community to keep our organizations ongoing. I know most of you probably read the article that was in the Signal item a week ago, showing that, our organizations have demised, and we would like to keep our things ongoing so that we may continue to support the community, honor our past veterans, put on our Memorial Day parade, and any other services that we can give back to the community as all of us have given to our country. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time, and thank you so much for honoring us veterans.
I just want to say one thing. I'm not a speaker, but Mayor Jackson, one of the best things that's happened to the vets in this community in a long time.
Okay, we'll continue with business. We'll start with the public comment period. I don't know if that item on the proclamation was moved. Okay. So we get to public comment. If you have an agenda, there are a lot of listed motions in the agenda. If you would like to make comments on any of those listed motions, this is the time to do it before we act on them. So if you have comments to make on any of those items, you may step up and speak to them now. Otherwise, if you have just general comments about nothing on the list here, but just of your own choosing, you can do that at the end. Any comments on listed motions? Okay, then we'll continue with business. Councilman Katina, administration and finance items, please.
Motion to approve the minutes from the council meeting on October 14th, 2013.
Second.
Comments? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Covey?
Yes.
Councilperson Demko?
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Councilperson Varys?
Yes.
Councilperson Katina?
Yes.
President DeLoss?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve the November bill list and the bill list addendum.
Second.
Comments? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Demko?
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Councilperson Varys?
No.
Councilperson Covey?
Yes.
Councilperson Katina?
Yes.
Council President DeLoss?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to ratify a phone vote of council taken on November 1st, 2013, authorizing the borough manager to begin the advertising process to fill the vacant positions of administrative assistant and public works mechanic.
Second.
Comments? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Councilperson Varys?
Yes.
Councilperson Demko?
Yes.
Councilperson Covey?
Yes.
Councilperson Katina?
Yes.
President DeLoss?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to instruct the borough manager to execute an agreement between the Borough of Carnegie and Pyrotechnico for the annual fireworks display to be held July 3rd, 2014, at a cost of $5,250.
Second.
Comments?
Mr. President, I've always gotten questions about why we do this on July 3rd, and we typically do this on July 3rd because it saves a substantial amount of money. Other boroughs would pay between 10 and 15 and 20 and upwards of $20,000 for the same show that we get on July 3rd, and actually I think it works out better for us because personally for me, the July 4th is always the holiday and I'm always typically off the next day, and July 3rd is obviously the night before, so I think it works out well for a lot of people when we get. I know our past display this past year was like no other display that I've ever seen before, and I think the people at Carnegie Park packed to the brims will attest to that, Mr. President.
Yeah, there was an incredible crowd this year.
So that's my comment, Mr.
Right,
President.
and
Thank you.
there's actually other communities talking about now what we've been doing for years now, saying, well, they could save money doing it on that day. Maybe we'll join because just so many have it on the 4th that they're now seeing it. So maybe that's a good sign we're going in the right direction.
And I'll just say that it allows people that love fireworks to an extra night of fireworks. So that's,
I agree.
so,
And we also had the food stand open this past year that we haven't had for a long time too, and it was packed.
It was packed, and it
So
raised
that
money for,
It was great for the park.
it raised money for the park. Any other comments? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Barris?
yes.
Councilperson Cody?
Yes.
Councilperson Demko?
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Councilperson Katina?
Yes.
President Dawes?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to advertise Borough Ordinance Number 2388, an ordinance of the Borough of Carnegie, continuing Ordinance 981 of 1982, as amended by Borough Ordinance 2344, providing for setting of Carnegie Borough's business privilege tax for the year 2014.
Second.
Comments? This is just a motion to advertise.
And the rates stay the same, Mr. President.
Thank you.
It's a lot to go just for a motion to advertise.
Yes, it is. We have one of the lowest of business privilege tax around as well. I think some of our business folks have figured that out. Since this is just a motion to advertise, say all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to advertise Borough Ordinance Number 2389, an ordinance of the Borough of Carnegie, continuing the local tax enabling ordinance Number 806, mechanical device, Number 808, real estate transfer, 809, earned income, Number 227, local services as amended, Number 2284, occupation, and Number 2285, per capita, for the year 2014.
Second.
Comments? Similarly to the previous motion, this is just a motion to advertise. Next month, we will actually pass those ordinances. If there's no other comments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to advertise Borough Ordinance Number 2340, an ordinance of the Borough of Carnegie continuing Ordinance 2286, providing for non-owner occupied dwelling registration for 2014.
Second.
Comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to advertise Borough Ordinance Number 2341, an ordinance of the Borough of Carnegie levying and assessing real estate taxes for general and specific purposes for the year 2014.
Second.
Comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to authorize the President of Council, Borough Manager, and Borough Solicitor to prepare and execute the documents necessary to obtain the 2013 tax anticipation loan from PNC Bank in the amount of $1 million at a rate of 1.90 with no origination fee.
Second.
Comments? For those who don't know what a tax anticipation loan is, our borough budget provides that we raise enough money to pay the bills, which means at the end of the year, our budget is consumed, our revenue is consumed. So that means at the beginning of the year, we take out a loan from a local bank, and that pays our payroll and bills until real estate tax comes in during the summer. And then we repay that loan back to the bank. That is a recurring event each year. It's called a TAN loan. It's very typical. Most municipalities do that unless you have a huge surplus of money that you're sitting on, and Carnegie does not do that. We take advantage of this type of a recurring loan each year. Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Covey,
Yes?
Councilperson Demko,
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield,
Yes.
Councilperson Barris,
Yes.
Councilperson Katina,
Yes.
President DeLoss.
Yes.
Motion passes.
We have no code enforcement issues tonight, motions that is under code enforcement, so we will move on to motions under public works. Councilman Demko, please.
Motion to approve payment to Soleil Construction, Inc. in the amount of $156,948.55 for the 2013-3A excavation sanitary sewer repair contract for work completed between September 24th and October 24th, 2013.
Second?
Comments? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Barris,
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield,
Yes.
Councilperson Demko,
Yes.
Councilperson Covey,
Yes?
Councilperson Katina,
Yes.
President DeLoss.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve payment to State Pipe Services, Inc. in the amount of $4,178.10 for the 2013-3B relining sanitary sewer repair contract for work completed between October 17th and October 21st, 2013.
Second.
Comments? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Sarsfield,
Yes.
Councilperson Demko,
Yes.
Councilperson Covey,
Yes?
Councilperson Barris,
Yes.
Councilperson Katina,
Yes.
President DeLoss.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve payment to the South Hills Area Council of Governments, SHACOG, in the amount of $27,067.02 for the Year 3 O&M CCTV inspection and cleaning.
Second?
Comments? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Demko,
Yes.
Councilperson Covey,
Yes?
Councilperson Sarsfield,
Yes.
Councilperson Barris,
Yes.
Councilperson Katina,
Yes.
President DeLoss.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve payment to SCAP Excavating in the amount of $46,711.50 for the demolition of 12 3rd Street, 102-335, 102-C335, sorry.
Second.
Comments? This is the demolition of what was formerly known as the Pucci Apartments, which is now no longer existent. If you're very happy to hear about that, it's a flat piece of property right now. Any other comments?
Looks good, they did a good job.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Covey,
Yes?
Councilperson Demko,
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield,
Yes.
Councilperson Barris,
Yes.
Councilperson Katina,
Yes.
President DeLoss.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve payment to Metro Fencing in the amount of $5,821 to repair damaged fencing throughout the borough, including Carnegie Park tennis and hockey courts, Irish Town Tot Wad, and Peace Alley.
Second?
Comments?
Mr. President, I would just like to say, this obviously, the piece at Carnegie Park obviously took a long time to repair, and I apologize for that. The reason that happened that way was that we were trying to seek reimbursement from our insurance company before we paid the money out of pocket, and that didn't work out. We were denied, so that's why, basically, because I believe this happened in February last year, we're finally having it repaired within the past 30 days or so. So I just wanted to be on the record stating that, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other comments? Roll call vote, please.
Just a quick question. What was the reason for the denial? Was it because we were late filing, or?
Do you remember what it was?
From my findings, since I came in after the fact, I think that the part of the fencing wasn't covered by insurance.
Okay, because that's where the light post came down, right?
Correct.
I know that wasn't here, I know that wasn't anybody here, I was just curious what the reason was for tonight.
Roll call vote, please.
Yes, sir. Councilperson Zemka?
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Councilperson Barris?
Yes.
Councilperson Covey?
Yes.
Councilperson Katina?
Yes.
President DeLasso?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Public safety motions, Councilman Sarsfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two motions this evening. Motion A is a motion to adopt Resolution 2013-08, a resolution of the Borough of Carnegie establishing a handicap parking space near 544 Bouquet Street.
Second.
Comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
My second motion is similar. It's motion B. It's a motion to adopt Resolution 2013-09, a resolution of the Borough of Carnegie establishing a handicap parking space near 516 7th Avenue.
Second.
Comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Councilman Sarsfield. Councilman Veers, please, Community Development motion.
Motion A to ratify the decision of the Planning Commission accepting the proposal from Gerard Skovarka at 409 Jane Street to construct an addition to the existing structure contingent upon receiving a variance from the Zoning Hearing Board for a non-conforming setback.
Second.
Comments? Mr. Skovarka owns the business known as Carnegie Radiator on Jane Street. He's putting an addition on his property, and Planning Commission has approved that. Pending this decision from the Zoning Hearing Board regarding the setback from the edge of the property line. If no other comments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Councilman Veers. At this time, we'll go into committee reports. We'll start with Councilman Katina.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sewage wastewater collection, or delinquent sewage that Jordan is now collecting. Notices went out for shut-off notices for anyone that's severely delinquent in their account. So if you got one of those notices, I would highly suggest you contact Jordan and set up payment arrangements to avoid any shut-off of water, because there is about $147,000 owed to us at this point in time in delinquent sewage wastewater. This week I'll be meeting with the borough manager to review the 2014 projected budget. We will also have a meeting next Monday to review that with all of council, and on Sunday of this week the manager, the president, and myself will be getting together to review the budget for next year to see exactly what it pans out and what it exactly looks at, and hopefully finalize it and offer some suggestions to all of council on Monday evening. I believe that's it for me, Mr. President. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Covey, Code Enforcement.
We have no report this evening, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Demko, Public Works.
Yes, I would just like to let everybody know that finally, after years and years of trying to get a guardrail up around Carnegie Park, we finally got one. They put it up. It looks beautiful. It's going to be great for the park. And I wanted to thank one of our engineers, Bob Robinson. Finally, is the one that got them to do it for us, which he still won't tell us how he did it, but I'm going to have to tickle him or something to get him to tell him, because we tried to do it for years, and they wouldn't. So, but anyway. So the
We have to have a
guardrails
witness for that.
are- Yeah.
He has the dirt on somebody or somebody owes him money. It's that simple.
This is on Forsyth, actually on
No,
Forsyth
Forsyth Road,
Road.
the park.
Along the park. If you've ever noticed that in the wintertime, you're wondering why cars don't just slide off the road right down into the park.
They do.
What's happened?
And they do have, that has happened. And now there's a guardrail out there finally, and it,
It's great, it's all the way up to the top.
yeah.
And that's all I have, unless Keith, you have anything? to
PennDOT
add?
installed that.
Yeah, PennDOT, no cost to us, PennDOT did
Yeah,
it. So.
PennDOT. But we had tried, as Councilwoman said, we had tried for years to get PennDOT to do that, and we were unsuccessful. But our engineer, Mr. Robinson, simply informed us one day that that was going to happen, and it did. And we're grateful, we're grateful.
And it happened so fast.
It did, it was
It's
amazing.
like,
They had it up in a day. I mean, it was almost a day. They went up and I think just finished a little bit of it. It took them, what, a day and a half? It was unbelievable.
And the skate park continues to progress
Want to
along.
do that good welfare, you want me to do that now? Okay. Yes, the skate park is coming along great. We are still way, I don't want to say way under budget, but really under budget. They're doing 10 yards of cement a day. The reason they only do 10 yards is because they use a special, something special in there that they like it to dry for a whole day. So they only do 10 yards a day, and they take their time with it, and they're doing a great job. They have half the pipe is poured already. They're waiting for the rest of it to be finished before they put the top on it. 2/3 of the bowl is done, and I think that's it. I think that's where they're at right now.
So is there an
It's looking really-
anticipated?
Yeah, they're thinking they're going to be done before they thought. So they're thinking like maybe the end of December.
End of December.
So,
It's something to see if you get a chance to drive up and
Yeah.
look at it. I was just looking at photos last night, and it just seemed like last week we were breaking ground.
yeah,
And
it's really neat.
It's
You
moving along.
have to go up and check it out. It's really something to see.
it is exciting to see it come together. I can't wait to see them do the full thing.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. But they're ahead of schedule, but the schedule they sent out, Steve, didn't it take it all the way to like the end of January?
Correct.
Yeah, the end of January is where they're looking at.
Well, actually, the guys are saying it's a bunch of young guys, and they're great. I mean, they really know what they're doing. But they were all teasing the other day, saying they want to be home for Christmas. So,
Do you blame them?
no, they have families. I mean, it's,
So they're not, these folks that construct these are not local?
no, they're from everywhere. We have a guy from Kentucky. There's Ohio, Maryland.
They specialize in that type of work?
They specialize in that. Yeah, Grimeline just uses
Yeah, they work
their specialty.
strictly for crime on building parks
Yeah.
across the country.
Right, yes. And they said this is one of the nicest ones they've ever built.
That's great.
Yeah. And they also love Pittsburgh because a lot of them are from flat areas and they all skateboard. So they love it here. They said they're skating all over 7th Avenue. And all. I said, you better watch the police don't catch you.
Right, chief, you didn't hear that, right?
Yeah, he's-
Okay, anything
that's
else?
it. Yeah,
Councilman?
that's it.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Councilman Sarsfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to announce that for the month of December, to help encourage people to shop and do their Christmas shopping here and be a part of our community, there will be free parking during the month of December. As far as the fire department, a couple months back, I reported that the ordinance was ready. We were just about knocking on the door to get it done, and for some unapparent reasons, we've had a setback in communications. Apparently, their solicitor's not talking to our solicitor, our manager, so we're kind of dead stop. But just to let people know, the ordinance is ready, sitting here, ready to be passed. There were only a couple of items that we needed to work through, and that was the payment of rent by EMS, obtaining a lower rate on the mortgage, and the discussion of major equipment. But talks have stalled, and I guess we'll wait. At some point, hopefully, the fire department will contact us and we can proceed. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilman Veers, Community Development.
No report this evening.
Thank you. I don't have any specific remarks to make this evening from my report. I think everybody has said what needs to be said this evening. Budget season is coming to a conclusion, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, so that we can pass the budget at the December council meeting. And that takes up most of our time at this time of the year. So with that, is there anyone from the fire department to speak for the fire department this evening?
Yes.
Yes.
The fire calls for the month of September were 26. There were 22 calls in the month of October. 177 calls for EMS in October. September's numbers have not been finalized.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. President, can I Phil a question real quick?
Absolutely.
Phil, can I ask you just a brief question, maybe something you take back to the fire department to see if they consider doing it? I know I've mentioned it a number of years, and it goes over so well in other communities, and you probably know where I'm going with this, because what's coming up at this time of the year is Santa Claus comes to town, but Glendale, East Carnegie, Scott Township, they pick a night and they bring Santa all over the different neighborhoods, hand out candy canes or what have you. But I'm wondering if you could take that back to the fire department to see if they'd be interested in doing that for our community.
Last year we wanted to do it, but we lacked a Santa.
Okay.
We're looking for a volunteer.
Whoa. Hey, you just can't say that in a public meeting.
Why can't I say
You could say Santa was busy, we couldn't get him.
Hey, Phil, I'm sitting next to Santa.
No, Santa's alive and he's at the North Pole right now, so for all the children in Carnegie, he's alive and well. And
He was just
at the North
booked that evening. He was booked that evening, that's all.
They used to do it.
I was gonna say, they used to do it.
With all the entertainment options the kids have today, I don't think they'll be watching this show.
Isn't that true?
Okay.
But I will bring it back, Pat, thank you.
Thank you.
Junior council. Anyone here from junior council? Junior council this evening. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. The monthly report for October 2013. Criminal arrests and citations were 22. Traffic citations numbered 55. Parking tickets 163. Complaints and self-initiated activity from our police department numbered 912. Just a few notes of upcoming events. As some may know already, there is a basketball game between our Carnegie Police Department and the faculty at Carnegie Elementary. That is November 15th, 6 p.m. $3 for adults, $1 for students, and tip-off is actually at 6:30. A little bit about Election Day. This past Tuesday was Election Day, and there were a couple of minor issues at the polls that that we as a council and me personally are working on correcting. One is that the school was open again this year. I've already had the chief talk with the superintendent about next year, that during Election Day, that we could possibly maybe just have it a teacher in service day, or they're working on something right now if they can fit it into the schedule. So the ultimate decision will be with the school board. But my goal is to make sure that the students are not in school during voting hours. And also, I had talked with Maggie Forbes earlier about maybe the library re-hosting the election poll. She was very in favor of it, and so if we can work that out next year. We heard a lot of complaints about parking and accessibility. Well, not accessibility, but I guess just mainly parking and the area down there down at the Youth Club, which they were very gracious. They were very gracious hosts, but it would be nice to have it at the library if we can work it out. So I know you want to, but it would depend on the election department at this time. Thank you so much. And then something to remember is that November 30th is Small Business Saturday. As everybody knows, Black Friday. Everybody's heard of Black Friday. If you haven't, you live in a bubble. But the day after is Small Business Saturday, where they try to encourage individuals to shop in their locally at their local store, local merchants. And research has shown, or statistics have shown, that when you buy things from your local merchants, the majority of that money stays within your community. So it's a good thing. And I'll probably let Joanne Letcher talk about this a little more, but she has created, her and Scott have created a poster for our businesses for Small Business Saturday. I thought I put it in here. Here it is. But it's a nice color poster that says, "Love Carnegie, put your money where your heart is and buy local." If everybody can see that, and retail businesses will post that. I thought that was a great idea, Joanne. Fantastic. But thank you for all you do, by the way. And the Meals on Wheels, they had a very nice fundraiser the other day. They also wanted to let me know that to relay that they are in need of volunteers, and especially during the week of Thanksgiving. So if anybody has time during the week of Thanksgiving, volunteers for Meals on Wheels would be welcome. They have to deliver some extra meals during that week. Remembrance Day at the Andrew Carnegie Free Library Music Hall. That'll be November 23rd from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we will be having tours of the SB Post, refreshments, and there will also be even a reciting of the Gettysburg Address by someone, not by me. I would like to congratulate the 3rd Street Gallery for another successful gallery opening, and they have an exhibit down there. The American Society of Landscape Architects. They opened up on Saturday evening with a new exhibit. It was a real nice opening, and they'll be running. That exhibit will run through December 8th. And then the Carnegie Screenwriters. This will be the last reading of the season for the Carnegie Screenwriters, and that is Monday the 18th. We have a budget meeting, unfortunately, but it starts at 7 p.m. and the readings will be The Treasure, Vladimir Putin is My Muse, in Heaven. So, sounds interesting. If that doesn't catch your attention, I don't know what does. Lastly, Mr. President, we have a proclamation here. It's for a disease that is not as well known as some of the other diseases, and we here in the borough would like to make a proclamation, being that we have a individual in our community that is afflicted with this. So this proclamation for, Renee, if you can help me, dysautonomia and Reflex Neurovascular Awareness Month. Dysautonomia is a group of medical conditions that result in a malfunction of the autonomic nervous system, which is responsible for essential bodily functions such as respiration, heart rate, blood pressure, digestion, temperature control, and more. Whereas many forms of dysautonomia, are considered rare or orphan diseases such as multiple system atrophy and pure autonomic failure, while other forms are quite common, such as diabetic autonomic neuropathy and neurocardiogenic syncope and postural osteostatic tachycardia syndrome. There is a lack of awareness about these conditions amongst the medical community and the general public. Whereas the symptoms of dysautonomia conditions are usually invisible to the untrained eye, to the casual observer, the dysautonomia patient can appear to be healthy. The manifestations of the condition are occurring internally, although the symptoms are quantifiable and verifiable medically. They are not visible on the outside. Symptoms may include orthostatic intolerance, inability to remain upright, dizziness, syncope, fainting, near fainting, tachycardia, fast heart rate, bradycardia, slow heart rate, palpitations, chest discomfort, low blood pressure, lightheadedness, gastrointestinal problems, excessive fatigue, excessive intolerance, nausea, vertigo, migraines, noise and light sensitivity, insomnia, frequent urination, temperature regulation problems, brain fog, forgetfulness, inability to concentrate, difficulty with recall, appetite disturbance, hypersensitivity to sensory stimulation. Whereas reflex neurovascular dystrophy, RND, is a progressive multi-system neuromuscular and neurovascular disorder. It is a debilitating chronic pain disease simultaneously involving nerves, muscles, blood vessels, skin, bones, tissues, and generally occurs in a limb. Whereas RND, if misdiagnosed or left untreated, can begin to damage the surrounding tissues and can spread to all the areas of the body and ultimately lead to a total disability. Whereas some signs and symptoms of RND include severe burning pain in a localized area that is out of proportion to the severity of the injury, localized edema or swelling that may not always be apparent in the later stages, hyperesthesia, which is oversensitivity to touch and light pressure, vasospasms, which affects color, skin temperature, and muscle atrophy, constant burning, pain, decreased range of motion, muscle spasms, stiffness, and restricted mobility. Whereas RND dates back to the Civil War, there is no known cure. Whereas, although millions in the United States are affected with dysautonomia and RND, they are not well known by the public or some medical professionals, and therefore do not receive adequate funding or needed medical research. This lack of knowledge causes many patients to suffer needlessly for many years. Whereas greater awareness of dysautonomia and RND in the medical community and general public will lead to earlier intervention and increased funding, resulting in much improved long-term quality of life. Whereas dysautonomia and RND can impact people of all ages, races, and backgrounds, including individuals living in Carnegie Borough, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania. Whereas dysautonomia and RND can be very disabling, and these disabilities can result in physical pain, social isolation, stress on the families of those incapacitated, and financial hardship. Whereas increased awareness about dysautonomia and RND can help patients get diagnosed earlier and help foster support for individuals and families coping with these illnesses. Whereas we seek to recognize the contributions of the professional medical community, patients, and family members who are working to educate our citizenry about dysautonomia and reflex neurovascular dystrophy in Carnegie Borough, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania. Now therefore, I, Jack Kubistik, Mayor of Carnegie Borough, Allegheny County, do hereby proclaim the month of November as Dysautonomia and Reflex Neurovascular Dystrophy Awareness Month throughout Carnegie Borough, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania. There is also a fundraiser that is associated with this, and I know you may want to speak later, but I know she can't stay out late. So would you guys like to come up and talk about the Ray of Hope fundraiser? And
Hi everyone, my name is Renee Holden. This is my daughter Paul. Basically, we cannot touch her. If you touch her even lightly, it causes her tremendous pain. We're fortunate to live in the city of Pittsburgh because we found a doctor at UPMC that was able to diagnose her with both dysautonomia and RND. She spent September of 2012 at the Children's Institute of Pittsburgh learning how to walk again. She was stung by a bee, which caused such trauma to her foot that within 48 hours she could not walk. She was on crutches and in a wheelchair. within 8 days of entering the Children's Institute, she was able to walk again. She doesn't look sick most of the time, but it's been a hard struggle. When she first got sick 3 years ago, she was bedridden for 8 months. So it's just a miracle that she's standing here. Our fundraiser is to bring awareness about these conditions. Her doctor, Dr. Pletcher from UPMC, is going to be speaking at this event, and the money that we raise are going to the Children's Institute of Pittsburgh and Dysautonomia International. So thank you all for your consideration, and we hope to see some of you at our fundraiser on November 23rd.
Location.
Yeah, and the location is the Carnegie Presbyterian Church, Saturday, November 23rd at 10 a.m. And that's 219 Ewing Road, for those who don't know.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Molly, I've known Molly since she was a little tiny girl. I know I can't hug you, but you know what I always do when I see you? Hugs and kisses. Love you. I'll be there on the 23rd.
That's a Saturday morning, November 23rd, 10 o'clock, at the Carnegie Presbyterian Church, which is just outside of town on Ewing Road.
That's all. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yes. At this time, if anyone has comments they would like to make, members of our community would like to make comments, you're welcome to step up to the podium, please, and do so. State your name, where you live or where you're from. Speak on the topic, whatever's on your mind.
Hi, I'm Maggie Forbes. I'm the Executive Director of the Andrew Carnegie Free Library Music Hall. And first, I would just like to thank you, Jack, for your gracious letter to the editor about the Library Music Hall. And I just want to reiterate our request that the council consider an increase in funding to the library. I won't go into it much, but we have an extraordinary library, an extraordinary historic library, and we are not at state standards with funding, and we're not funded at the level that many boroughs, from Crafton to Dormont to Bellevue to Clareton, fund their libraries, and I don't think they have a library that begins to resonate with the community the way ours does. But switching from that, I just wanted to say there's great things going on. I guess you say the mayor rather than Jack if you're standing at the podium. But Remembrance Day, I wish that the veterans were still here, because in some ways it's an ultimate veterans event. Remembrance Day is the 150th anniversary of the commemoration of Lincoln's delivery of probably the most memorable speech ever delivered in this country, Lincoln's Gettysburg Address and the dedication of the National Memorial. The Civil War has great resonance in this state because of what happened in Gettysburg. And Diane Kleinfelter, who is returning as our curator for the SV Posts, will be giving special tours with a Gettysburg emphasis. There will be refreshments, and Carnegie's chief executive will be delivering the address. That's from 11 to 3. I wanted to just say, I want to thank the media. It makes a big difference when you get some attention. We've been in the paper a lot lately, from the Signal item to the Post-Gazette. There was an article about our tango performance on October 30th. And I just have to say, people came because I asked them to sign in if they wanted more information. First off, it's hard to get people to sign in, but people came from Allison Park, Wexford, 2 zip codes in the North Hills, Fox Chapel, Shadyside, Oakland, Squirrel Hill, Export, Harmony, Murraysville, to see this performance. They also came from Carnegie, Roslyn Farms, and Crafton, and Bridgeville, and Coriopolis. The town does benefit from people coming to this. It is a 7:30 performance, I suspect, and I don't quite yet know how to track this, so many people had dinner in Carnegie before this performance. Patricia Pradish Jennings, who is was the principal keyboardist for the symphony, is for 40 years, who lives in Roslyn Farms, is having a book reading. She's written a book in one ear and out the other. It's actually going to be a lot of fun. We're not doing it, but Patricia is bringing champagne and hiring local Carnegie jazzmen, Phil Salvato and Haywood Vincent, who will be playing on Thursday night. That's at 7 o'clock on Thursday. Please, I left some newsletters, but we keep trying to make more and more things happen. I think I told you about, I think I mentioned it at the budget meeting, but the 68 kids, boy, I wish I had pumpkins. So 68 kids in pajamas showed up at our Halloween party. It really surprised us. And I have to thank Carnegie Elementary School because I think they really got the word out about that, but it was a lovely evening. And just, that's it. But I hope to see some of the programs, and I hope
You have to let me know earlier next year, and
we will. I mean,
because we had a ton of pumpkins left.
okay, and Keith, I'll need you to help me bring 68 pumpkins, because I can't carry them. Okay, thank you.
We have a board meeting coming up, right?
Yes, Wednesday, the 20th.
Is there anything going on at that board meeting that you want to talk about, or?
Oh, yes, if you want me to. Yes, I guess I do. We are reviewing the bylaws at that board meeting. There has been a suggested change. I think you three who are on the board got it. For some reason, in 2008, we've had ex officio members. Ex officio means you're appointed by virtue of your office to serve on the board. And for 108 years, our council had voting privileges. Those were taken away. We don't really quite, there was something about some conflict of interest, but they have been revised, and we certainly hope and we expect that everybody will be restoring that vote to council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Joanne Letcher, Executive Director of the Carnegie Community Development Corporation. I just wanted to invite you, I know I'm dressed for Halloween, but I'm actually here for Christmas. We're having a holiday business fellowship mixer. I would like to extend an invitation basically to all the business people in Carnegie, political officials, everybody that volunteers, people that love Carnegie. Come to the Carnegie Coffee Company. It will be Wednesday, December 4th from 4 to 7 p.m. It's being co-sponsored by the Carnegie Collier Rotary. I'm not going to lie, they're going to be trying to recruit new Rotarians. So they will speak for a few minutes, just 5 minutes, but they also are donating towards the cause for refreshments. So please come. We are charging a minimal $5 at the door. Refreshments will be served, and come and say happy holidays to all your friends and neighbors.
What was the
4 to
time?
7.
4 to 7.
4 to 7 at the Carnegie Coffee Company, and that's Wednesday, December 4th. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne.
Oh, and shop in Carnegie.
Love Carnegie.
Oh, we all love Carnegie.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Bridget Van Dorn. I am with the Carnegie Shade Tree Commission, and I wanted to give you a current update on what's been happening with the Shade Tree Commission. First and foremost, the Tree City USA application has been submitted. It has been accepted by the forester and sent on to the second level of approval, so that's one check mark in the good. And we won't hear until the beginning of the year because it's for each calendar year. So we couldn't apply until October for this year. And so they award it in January and will let us know if we have been to be recognized as the Tree City USA for 2013. And then that will bring us even more good recognition. The tree inventory was completed in August. You've all received a copy of the report. The Pennsylvania Forestry Challenge Grant wrap-up paperwork has been submitted, and volunteer appreciation items will be distributed on Wednesday night this week at the Shade Tree Commission meeting. The Tree Vitalize grant application has been submitted for a spring planting. We've applied for approximately 67 more trees for Carnegie, and those will be planted in the spring, approximately in April. So get your gloves, make sure you know where they are for April. The green scan, which is being done by Western Pennsylvania Conservancy and DCNR, is in its final stages. We are looking forward to the final report and their recommendations for the borough. This winter, we will be making recommendations for maintenance issues and continuing education efforts regarding the Tree Commission ordinance and how it applies to businesses and to homeowners. Education is our friend, and we have to try to get as much information out there as possible. So that's what we will continue to do. I would like to thank the Department of Public Works for their help this summer. We did lose one tree, not their fault, certainly wasn't their fault. I saw what it was planted in, that was a bad hole. But the planters looked absolutely fantastic this year. It's amazing how petunias will do when they get water. So thank you very much, Keith, and thank you to your crew. Okay. We do have a question for council about our council liaison. If the liaison is unavailable to attend the meeting, should there be an alternate assigned? Council has been without representation since approximately May, and we're concerned that you're not getting regular updates regarding our progress and our projects. And we want to be sure that you're informed so that somebody's keeping an eye on us, because you know we might get into trouble. But that's a good thing most of the time. So I'm just wondering how this should be handled and how it's handled for the other commissions or other boards. And of course, I would always like to put in a little plug for your budget considerations that after the tree inventory was completed, we were able to give you some very solid dollar figures for the value of the trees in the town, the amount of storm water that they're absorbing, and showing that they are a useful resource for the town. So we hope that you will consider our budget requests to help us to do more as we continue forward. Because one of the big things, as I mentioned, that we will be starting to, not to add to Keith's list, but to make recommendations about some of the most dangerous tree situations for public safety kind of things that are either very dead trees that should be removed, and most of these fall under homeowner issues, so that might go to Mr. Roma. But things to help improve the community and help to keep people safe will be one of the first things that we'll be looking at the tree inventory to help us pinpoint and target specific areas. So these are some things that will really help to help these guys to do their job and keep it easy for them, as well as to continue to improve the local Carnegie. So please consider our requests, and if you have some feedback on that.
I wanted to say on the inventory that it was really quite incredible. I mean, as I reviewed it, if anybody here could imagine cataloging and accounting for all the trees in the borough.
Street trees.
Street trees.
Only street trees.
Street trees, but that's
Thankfully,
most
I didn't have to do all
of the trees are street trees.
Yes.
I mean, the types and the numbers, it really was quite an incredible project. I thought you guys did a really wonderful job on that.
I'll let Gabe know that you said so. Because he was my right-hand man for sure.
Public Works, I did talk with Keith, this is a while ago, and there is a certain amount of expertise involved in maintaining trees, and we recognize that's an expertise that we may be a little lacking on as far as the proper way to prune trees and things which can be quite involved.
Right.
So we're always open to educational opportunities.
And also, we do have an opportunity with, I think it's Tree Pittsburgh. It's either Tree Pittsburgh or Tree Vitalize. One of them will come, they're willing to come to the borough to do a hands-on pruning course. I figured we would wait until next fall, because by then our first round of planting will be ready for the beginner pruning class. And that will help us for the tree tenders in town and the tree commission people to be able to know firsthand what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing, and we certainly want to extend that to all of the Public Works Department to be able to offer that bit of guidance. I went to my first tree trimming class, and it was very informative, very hands-on, and kind of a long night, but at least we had light. So it was a good night, and a lot of learning was accomplished. So I think that they're a very beneficial workshop and very hands-on, so it'll definitely help. Yes.
Just a quick question too. When did you say the Tree City will make their determination, Tree City USA?
The beginning of the year, I believe, is when we will hear. So in January, we should hear.
And 2 weeks ago on Shark Tank, and there was an invention that this farmer made that protects your trees and helps them sustain water. And was an awesome thing, so I don't know if you can figure, I don't know where they're selling it, but somebody picked it up on the Shark Tank. I guess you see what my Friday nights are like, right? When I don't have an event, I stay home and watch Shark Tank with my wife, so.
I'll have to go back and look at it.
Yeah, but it was a really neat invention, and it's a piece of plastic that fits right around the trees, and he was given all the stats on what it does.
Is that the bag?
What's that?
Is that the bag that fits around it?
No, it's instead of, it's to protect your young trees so that they can grow. And they jumped on it right away, so.
Oh, great. I'll have to go take
I was
a look.
trying to get all the information for you, but
All right, and then as far as the liaison, should there be an alternate?
Yes,
What do we do with
there
that?
should be somebody who can attend your meetings, absolutely.
Okay, and should that be up to us or to the liaison?
Let me discuss that with the rest of the council and see what the thought is on how that person
Okay,
is
you
selected.
can just let me know, that'd be great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Hi, I'm Debbie Wagner from Beechwood Avenue, and I was just wondering if anyone else is having problems with Brookheimer with these 2011 earned income tax that they requested. I paid our taxes back when we were supposed to, and I received a letter. My husband and I filed together, but we got separate letters. Mine saying that I said I paid a certain amount of money, but their records show that I didn't pay anything at all, and they wanted me to get copies of my canceled checks. Now, they're talking like 2 or 4 years ago. A bank that I don't do business with anymore, but I managed to do that, and I got them and I sent it to them. My husband said that they had, his check was still dated, so they needed a new one, which made sense, so we did that. And then about the same time, that was a lot of work getting this checks together, by the way. At the same time, my son, who's away at college, gets a letter, like a week after ours, saying that, we got two of them, that he didn't pay his check was returned by the bank, that they wanted a replacement check. So within days, I sent them a replacement check. And then I got a letter just Friday saying that our check was returned to NSF. Now, they didn't say if they meant the one way back in 2012 that we paid the 211 taxes, or the one I just sent them like a month ago. But now, in addition to his $30 tax, they want $29 NSF fee. So they want $59 now instead of the $30.
This is for the EIT.
Right.
Councilman, have you heard any?
Can I see your letter?
This is the first time we've had someone tell us about this
Okay.
situation.
Yeah, I've been sort of jumping through hoops for them, and every time I do, they give me something else to do. This is the most recent one. If you look at it, I paid it within days of them requesting. They said if I paid it within 30 days with a new check, that I wouldn't have to pay extra. And now we're at one.
I guess Brookheimer's doing a collection now for Central. Yeah.
You're aware that Centax went filed bankruptcy?
Well, I understand that because
So
they
they're
never
going
matched
after
our
our
original
people.
checks. And now they're saying the money wasn't there, but that's NSF, and that's not just money been there, was there, still
This
is
is
there.
ridiculous.
And now they're attacking on.
They don't know half their own records, and we had to settle with pennies on the dollar for what was owed to us, and now they're going back after the.
Yeah, we had a big
I don't
issue
think
when
so.
Centax filed bankruptcy. They didn't have the money to pay. They were supposed to pay the municipalities. They had collected money from people and did not give it to the municipalities.
See, I was under the impression that they just didn't know where they all was to get the checks.
It doesn't sound like it's
Now,
Yeah.
thank you for bringing it to our attention.
You're welcome. Maybe I am the only one, I don't know. It just seems
No,
strange.
If it happened to
you'll
you,
probably
it's
go
for
for,
somebody else.
yeah, I'm sure it
But
happens.
there's also a combination, that's school district. What, did you sign a job?
My son had a job. Yes, he was working part-time.
But he's a college kid, he was a high school.
But he would have paid
But
that.
let's talk about that after the meeting.
Yeah, okay.
But you can get back though, don't you?
No. We paid it a couple of years and never got it.
Is there anyone else who would like to make comments this evening? Okay, then we'll go around the table and finish up with good and welfare. Councilman Sarsfield?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it was wonderful what we did for our veterans from the VFW and American Legion. I want to thank the mayor for that. And, you know, as a council, you know, we proudly recognize our veterans with the hanging of the American Creed here in our council chambers. You know, my father, proudly served in World War II, never really talked about it. He just said that he did what he had to do. But my stepson, Brian, he just received word that they'll be sending him over to Kuwait to serve over there. He didn't receive a firm date when he'll be going, but you know, I appreciate everybody's thoughts and prayers when he does leave. This coming year, me and the mayor are going to be working together to get local businesses involved that on Independence Day, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, that they offer a discount specifically to the veterans of Carnegie, so that they know that they are appreciated. And finally, I want to encourage people to come to the Bridgeville Fire Hall on December 15th from 8 to 3. There's a young man, 30 years of age, Jonathan Sweeney, who has testicular cancer, and it has already spread to his lymph nodes. He works for Southbridge EMS and Bridgeville Fire Department. Pleasant Hills and Southbridge are all joining together to help him through this situation. So anybody that could attend that, I'd certainly appreciate that. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Catino?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 3 things this evening. Carnegie Elementary is having their annual talent show on November 22nd, starting at 7 p.m. And if you were there last year, it was tons of fun seeing all the children perform. So if you can make it, if your evening's available, it's about a 2-hour show typically, but it's very enjoyable. It's well worth the price of admission.
What was the date on that again?
November 22nd at 7 p.m. On Election Day, just a story just to clarify something. But I had a number of people come up and thank me for bringing the sewage, the delinquent sewage bill up and possibly lowering it for next year. Well, as much as I told them as I'd like to take credit for that, it wasn't me that came up with that idea. The woman that came up with that idea sits a few seats down there, and she's been on our heels about it for the past 3 years. So, Councilwoman Demko, anyone that wants to thank her for possibly lowering the sewage bills for next year, you need to thank her because she's the one that deserves the credit for that. So, I had to set the voters straight about that because they said, oh, that's a good idea. I'm like, sorry, not my idea. Can't help you with that. I said, I just pursued it. So, but she deserves the credit. So, and finally, the Glendale Bridge. We've heard of us talk about the Glendale Bridge. You've heard of Scott Township talk about the Glendale Bridge. The renovations are actually set to take place in 2014. I can tell you the design of the bridge is almost complete. It's about a $1.8 million project. Right now they're working with the property owners to basically get the right-of-way to get access under the bridge and around the bridge. It should be advertised, or it should be put out in advertisement form for the contractors around February, and they're asking that the contractor starts in May and complete in November. So it should be completed in November of 2014. But there will be a shutdown of that bridge during that time frame. So you're looking at approximately a 6 to 7 month shutdown at the Glendale Bridge. So that's that's obviously the new 3rd Street corridor, and it's highly traveled on a daily basis. We shut the road down, 3rd Street for one day, and I drove down and I'm like, I couldn't believe what was going on. My traffic was both backed up on Main Street. What was going on? And I realized, oh, it's because we shut 3rd Street down one day for paving. So you can imagine that there's going to be some headaches until people get used to that being shut down. So I expect that to be happening, like I said, in May, June of next year. And then the completion, if everything goes on schedule, will be November 14th or November of 2014. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Demko?
I just wanted to say the Haunted Trail was a huge success again. Many of you were there, many of your kids were there. It was a huge success, and the community came together again. We had so many donations, so many volunteers, and it was just wonderful. We don't have the exact count on what we made on it for the park, but it was really good this year. I just want to thank everybody that had anything to do with it. Really a lot of help from everyone.
Thank you. Councilman Veras?
Just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Councilman Kobe?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a couple things. First of all, I did want to say a lot has been said this evening, but I did want to wish all the veterans happy Veterans Day. Freedom isn't free, as many of you know, and I, for one, am very grateful that I live in a free country with freedom of speech and freedom to worship and freedom to vote this past week. And, you know, as they say, all gave some gave all. So happy Veterans Day to everyone. It was mentioned, but please go to the basketball game Friday night, because I intend to be there and I don't want to be the only one laughing. I think it's going to be a great evening of fun. And Carnegie's finest, as I call them, my boys in blue, are going to slaughter those teachers. Trust me. So I need somebody to help me scream and root for them. But and then there's what's going on in December. Joanne, I did wear red, and I actually wore Christmas earrings. I know it's early, but since we won't meet again until several weeks, Santa does come to town on Saturday morning. November 30th, here at the Borough Building, 12 noon. All children will receive a gift from Santa and a treat bag filled with goodies. Again, that's Saturday the 30th. Also, Light Up Night will be Friday, December 6th at 6:30 p.m. at the tree in the PNC parking lot. And we'll light the tree and welcome Santa, and there'll be music and cookies and hot chocolate and coffee for the adults. And finally, the Cougar baseball boosters, I know it's hard to think about baseball right now, but are having their 2013 holiday raffle. They did this last year, and this year, I'm not real technical, so don't ask me questions and don't go here, but they have the all-new, I've seen it on TV, the all-new Apple iPad Air. It's 16 Gs, is that gigs? Yeah. Wi-Fi and cellular capability. It's a real pretty gray color, I know that. And it does have a 2-year Apple protection plan. The winning ticket will be drawn on Friday, December 20th at the Carlinton High School. Winner need not be present. Tickets are $5, and all proceeds go to the Carlinton High School boys baseball program. You can contact Jeff Stephan, I have his number, or you can see me, or almost anybody at the Borough Building can put you in touch with me. So it is a good cause, and it's supposedly going to make somebody really happy for Christmas, whoever wins it. So, and Sue, as much as I love Maggie, don't be promising Maggie any pumpkins, because the Haunted Trail was such a success that next year I want to do it not 2 weeks, but 3, maybe 4.
Oh, you're off the hook.
What are you doing? You're killing me.
I'll make it up to you, Keith. So, we may need those pumpkins. So, everyone have a...
We have enough pumpkins left over for 3 extra weekends.
Okay, good.
Plus
Okay, you're in, Mag.
All right.
Everybody have a very, very safe and wonderful Thanksgiving, and Lord willing, we'll see you first part of December. So take care. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome.
I just wanted, for Chief, all right, it looks like we're doing the Toys for Tots this year. Would you like to say a few words about that? Sorry about that.
Yeah, we're doing the Toys for Tots. We're set up now for donations. They'll go to mid-December. Pretty much exactly the same as it was before. That hasn't changed.
Excellent.
Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Lastly then, for me, I want to just mention the Thanksgiving because, you know, you get into Christmas shopping earlier every year, and it seems like Thanksgiving is kind of overlooked almost, other than being the day before Black Friday, or other than having our department stores encroaching onto our Thanksgiving dinner. Thank you for saying no to that. More people need to say no to shopping on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, I think, is it's a very special American holiday, and I think it is a unique holiday in the world in that it is a national holiday, meaning it's an American holiday, but it's also a religious holiday. And there are very few holidays that would fall into that category, where it is a day where we stop to ask, to thank God for living in America. And yet it's not just one particular religion, it's for everybody in America to thank God in their own way, according to the practice of their faith. And yet it's an American holiday, but it's also a religious holiday, and I think it speaks to the very best of our country that we would have a national holiday, that you would do that. And to me, that's a very special thing about America. And in Pennsylvania in particular, if you know the history of our state, you know that Pennsylvania was the colony where anybody of any different religion could practice freely. And that's because the founder of the state was a Quaker, and he believed that everybody should practice according to their own way. So we have a special history here in Pennsylvania, and a special history in America, where people pray according to the way they like, and that's part of being a good American. So Thanksgiving is a very special day on our calendar. I look forward to it every year, and I hope you will enjoy it with your families as it was meant to be, and not spend dinner thinking about where you're going shopping the next day. So with that, I'll call for motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
However big you make that. I work till like
You were here.